Another day in the NBA, and today only a 2-game slate because the NBA fears college basketball. Now, there's probably being nice and getting out of the way. We're still going to do what we always do here. We're going to strap in and prepare for today's slate. I finished 6th on Friday in the 4-point play, finished top 75 on Saturday. I'm knocking at the door. Today, we're going to do what we always do here. We're going to pair my projections, some of the industry leaders out there, like Stokastic, like our friends at Unabated. We're also see what the best bets are at Unabated. We're also going to hop into Stokastic, see some DFS sims of what the top lineups are without my data involved. By in this video, you know all the must plays and the splash plays for today's NBA slate. Let's get into it. Your Q tag tweet. Let's look at this first. Bam out of bias. This is real stupid. The entire heat basically questionable right now, so the slate could be completely different by the time we get there. The good news is that today you have games at 7 o'clock, 7:30. The bad news, the Miami game is at 7:30, and that's when we really need to know some of these guys' injury statuses. But Bam out of bio, Tyler Hero, Andrew Wiggins, Keegan Murray, Jalen Duren, Tobias Harris, Keon Ellis, Alec Burks, Justin Edwards. So you got 4 different Heat player Q tags, a couple of Sixers, well, one Sixers guy that matters, Justin Edwards. Duren matters certainly in terms of opening up some backup value for the centers there. Isaiah Stewart went nuts last time we had a video on Friday. So really is still a lot of up the air for a 2-game slate. But let's get into it. Shout out to the chat as well. Appreciate you guys being here. Locking Grimes. Oh, God. Squirting for Grimes today. That's sure. I'm getting a lot of Grimes, guys. What's up, Squirters? What's up, Jake? Appreciate you being here. Let's get into my projections here. Top projected guy right now for me is Cade Cunningham. And once again, it's a slate today where I have nobody above 50 fantasy points. Cade, to me, at 46.7 fantasy points looks the best right now. Stochastic's projections at 46.3, so a little bit lower than I have him. They're getting him top 27%, for their top lineups overall. I guess that's every lineup for them. For me, 13% of my top 150 for Cade Cunningham. So I'm about half the field of Cade right now. On this slate, a 2-game slate, you can literally play whoever you want. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong for it. Projections as well. Really not a lot of guys who look like great values here. Not a lot of guys that even fit that old DFS standard of a 5x value you always talk about. So on this slate, it could be Cade. It could be Sabonis. Very flat ownership up top here, as you can see. Even Quentin Grimes is picking up 25% ownership, as we'll talk about in a moment. Domantas Sabonis, I got him at 45.4. Stokastic has him at 45.2. They're getting him 30% of the top owner. Oh, I keep saying the top lineups. Of all their lineups today, they're expecting 30% ownership. I'm getting him 17% of my top lineup. So also about half the field on Sabonis, about half the field on Cade. These guys, again, don't project too well as the next guy. Quentin Grimes, I have at 45 fantasy points. So Stokastic has him at 37.6. So Grimes, last 3 games, playing 36 minutes or more. He also, last game, had a terrible first half versus Minnesota. Still got to about 38 fantasy points in that game. Also got about 30% use in that game, and he really got no shots up in the first half. It actually was a pretty impressive bailout there in the second half for him, even though he didn't hit his full value or anything. 8,800, Quentin Grimes team projects really close to Cade, really close to Sabonis. That is why I'm getting Quentin Grimes at 89% today. Fields at 25%. This is going to be one of those days where Quentin Grimes is going to be my big stand here. If there's value that opens up for Miami as well, it's going to look even better for me getting Grimes pretty easily. So Grimes, he's on the thumbnail. You can see my face, I guess we got to play Quentin Grimes. I think I'm doing it the wrong way. Anyway, Quentin Grimes day once again here for me. And the short slate makes it a little more palatable. But obviously, if you want to fade me, if you want to get away from me right away, not playing Quentin Grimes would be the way to do that. I have Grimes for carry the 2, no Yabu, 84 points. Yeah, no Yabu selling today does matter a little bit. Yabu has been a player in the past where if he had a good day, does sort of hurt Quentin Grimes' outlook a little bit because he'll take some long shots, take a few extra shots if he's really heating up. So look, having no Yabu doesn't hurt. If you get Justin Edwards out as well, frankly, a really nice spot for Grimes to really be locked into that 35 or so minutes that he'll get. Last game was weird, though. They did play Ricky Council only one stint, like a 4-minute stint. I don't know what he did to piss him off, but really for Grimes, I think he's the best play in the slate. It is what it is. Tyler Hero, 40% for the field. I'm getting him at 31% right now. Have him a little bit lower projected than Stokastic. If you were to get Wiggins out, if you were to get Bam out, if you were to get any sort of combination, Alec Burks out, even on top of that, any combo of the Heat being out, Tyler Hero is going to look better. Same thing as when Hero is out, Bam Adebayo looked better after that. Happened on, I think, on Friday slate? No, Friday slate. So for Tyler Hero here, a lot of ownership going his way, 40%. I'm only getting 31 right now, assuming that he does play. Bam Adebayo, 35% for the field. I'm only getting 11. Really, the big thing for me is that Andrew Wiggins gets a pretty big rate uptick from just being on the Heat. His usage has been up about 2 or 3% since he joined the Heat. So he takes a little bit more. Bam Adebayo comes down for me. Bam obviously has gone nuts recently. The price tag at 9,200 kind of reflects that. He's more expensive than Tyler Hero, which I don't think is correct in terms of how I would view it. Going against Philly, though, soft center matchup for sure. We have seen Philadelphia get abused, including by Gobert last time out. So for Philly, going against Philly rather for Bam Adebayo, I get it in terms of the game theory and all that. Projection, though, is only a 4.3x value for me. So really not a big stand in favor of Bam Adebayo. I'm getting him about a third of the field's ownership right now. DeMar DeRozan getting him at 19%, fields at 27. Again, not a great projection play once again, but you got to play somebody on the slate. So DeRozan fits the criteria. Really not a big fade for me, but he also doesn't look that great to me. Again, the only guy who looks like a passable value in these top projected guys to me is Quentin Grimes, which doesn't feel great. Jalen Duren, 31% for the field. I'm getting him at 39. Duren was a player who also helped me on Friday's slate. Then him being out on, I think on Saturday also helped out a lot too, getting that value at the backup center position. For Jalen Duren at this point, I think that he is still a passable play, a decent play. I think you'd rather see the value open up here, getting an Isaiah Stewart start. He's priced today at 4,800, but would still project well enough to play for sure. You would still have the Paul Reed pivot if Stewart were to get in foul trouble or something. But Jalen Duren looks like an okay play. It would just be nice to get him not playing today so we get some sort of value on the slate with Isaiah Stewart. Zach LaVine, 23% for the field. I'm at 18, so under the field there, but not a big stand. Again, you got to play somebody. I'm playing him despite him being a 4.4x value for me. Andrew Wiggins, he's another guy here who does project pretty well to me if he does play. His usage when he's been on the Heat so far, he's putting up about 26% usage, 26.5% usage, 15% assist rate, 8% rebound rates, basically the same from what he was doing in Golden State. But I have him for 1.13 fantasy points a minute today. So I think Wiggins is a pretty strong play at 6,900. I don't know if he's 2x the field strong, but that's what I'm getting here because he's actually a good value. As we talked about here, not all these guys in the slate look like good values to me right now. Khalil Ware, 28% for the field. I'm at 30%. Just a little bit of a cheaper option than a Bam Adebayo. Certainly is a guy that gets some direct leverage on Bam Adebayo theoretically. If Bam and his 35% ownership fails, it's possible that Khalil Ware got a few more rebounds, a block, a few more putbacks along the way. And that's sort of how Bam Adebayo doesn't achieve his most reasonable, highest upside outcomes. So Khalil Ware, I'm okay with, just really making the case as to why I have 30%, but it's not really. He's also, frankly, not a great play. And Adem Bona does look like a pretty good play here. He's been playing kind of mini Shaq lately for Philadelphia. Getting Yabu out as well helps him out a little bit. Alex Reese was inactive recently. I guess he'll be back in. Colin Castleton as well would be your center pivot if you're not going to play Adem Bona. He had some pretty decent stats the other day for Philly. What did Castleton do? Castleton put up 16.5 fantasy points in 15 minutes. I think he must have slowed down a little bit because I saw the numbers, I think, in the first half. I was like, wow, Castleton's doing well. And I think he just did nothing in the second half. 6 points, 6 boards, 2 assists, did a little bit of everything. Played 15 minutes. Game before that, his debut for Philly, he played 16 minutes. If he gets to 20 because something weird happens with Bona as super chalk, that's Castleton being a viable pivot potentially. But Bona right now getting him at 75% and the field's at 40. So real big Adem Bona stand here. My wife liked my Adem Bona. There we go. If Wiggins is out, the slow-mo go chalk. Probably not slow-mo. I mean, the guy who should be the one you go to is going to be Davion Mitchell, I think, in the most part. He's been getting like 30-plus minutes off the bench every time, no matter who's out there. Would certainly feel a little bit safer, I think, if Hero's out for him. But I think he would benefit from Wiggins as well. Slow-mo probably gets you like 20 minutes, but I don't think he'd be a huge beneficiary. We can look at Popcorn Machine for a minute here because we got a ton of time with this being a 2-game slate. And we'll look at values next. All right, so Miami versus Milwaukee. Last game they played. So you had no Hero for this one, no Wiggins as well. Duncan Robinson picked up the start, had like a decent day. I think had like 25 fantasy points. Alec Burks played a lot here. So theoretically, he's taking the Hero minutes. Duncan Robinson is taking the Wiggins minutes. So I think Duncan Robinson would be your winner if you get Wiggins out. I don't think he'd be a great play, but he'd be an okay play. But yeah, slow-mo, Oops, what did I close out of? Shit. Hold on a second here. Slow-mo, though, getting you 20 minutes or so. He could be productive enough. I don't hate it, but I don't think he becomes like a great player or anything. All right, top values right now. There we go. Adem Bona, top value on the slate for me technically right now, and it's only a 5.3x value. So right now kind of speaks to the lack of value on the slate. In fact, in these two games, I only have 4 players projected for over a 5x value. So you're going to have a lot of players that are under 5x making your lineups. Mixing them around feels like the way to do it. So Adem Bona, top value. We just talked about him. 75% of my top 150 lineups. Fields at 40%. Quentin Grimes is like a top value for me as well. 89% of my top 150 have him, as we talked about. 25% for the field. Again, if you go with Stokastic rates, he's not going to look nearly as good. If you go with mine, he just looks for 45 fantasy points. That would be a pretty nice little amount for him to hit at 8,800. So I do like Quentin Grimes today, even though I really don't think you guys need to get 90% like I'll probably be getting today. Lonnie Walker, 65% of my top 150, Fields at 45%. He's been playing a lot of minutes as well. I did benefit as well last time out from Ricky Council, again, only playing one short stint. Lonnie Walker, I think in that game played just shy of 30 minutes. Pull that up real fast too. Lonnie Walker seems like a fairly credible value, especially if you get Justin Edwards out. Last game, Edwards played 11 minutes. Lonnie Walker got to 38 in that game, so even higher than I would have thought offhand. Lonnie Walker, clearly a guy they want to get to the rotation and use, and they have been doing that. So Lonnie Walker, another top value here with the Philadelphia guard / wings, all looking like decent values. And Andrew Wiggins, again, another top guy here in terms of projection, getting him in 69% of my lineups, Fields at 36. So really clearly condensed player pool here, just because these guys are the only good values, it looks like, on the slate, at least for my projections. Let's see. Let's get it. Shout out YSN. Appreciate you being here. And make that bitch squirt. It's a little bit aggressive, but sure. Hopefully that bitch being NBA DFS tournaments tonight. We're going to make that bitch squirt. No one in the 3,000s up here either. The stinks. Yeah, there's really no good values. And Isaiah Stewart is going to be 4,800 if he starts. So even that's not really like a great value either. But he would be a 5X guy, I'm pretty sure. Other top values, Jalen Doran, quote unquote, a top value, Keon Ellis, Tyler Hero, Khalil Ware, Jared Butler, whose rates really do suffer on the Sixers, even though sites like Stokastic, some of the ones out there as well. They use a longer term sample for Butler, not acknowledging the fact that his usage is down on Philly, his assist rate's down on Philly. He just doesn't possess the ball as much. But at 5,700, still playable. 40% of the field's going to be there. I got him in 38. Duncan Robinson, 34% for the field. I'm at 46, and that is with Wiggins in the projection set. So I think he would come up a good amount if you got Wiggins out, let alone if you get Wiggins and Hero out. And Cade Cunningham, technically a top value here, even though not a lot there. So how do I come up with my thumbnails are the best? Well, thank you for that. I just make the faces really big and I make myself make a stupid face next to a player's face. So I think a fairly simple process, but I'm glad. I appreciate the kind words. The click-through rate on this, since I switched this thumbnail type, has been a lot higher. So if you are a creator out there, I don't know, make your face big, put less words on it. There's some lessons to be learned there. We're going to go game by game now, guys. And if you can, please hit that like button. Please subscribe. The NBA right now, obviously a real slow day with only 2 games going on because of college basketball's championship as well tonight. But still, I'm here doing the work as always, prepared as always, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed as always. I do appreciate you guys showing some love if you can to help me fight off that YouTube algorithm. Certain point, we are going to be transitioning to NBA playoffs and MLB streams on here. We're not there yet. We're riding out the next week of NBA games because the regular season, guys, ends on the 13th. So we are in our dying days here. And check out our presenting sponsors as well. Underdog, $1,000 of bonus cash. Of course, you get it for yourself. We're getting time now for the pick'ems. We're going to be doing with Unabated in a moment. There will still be some good bets out there. And Unabated, I'm sure, though, frankly, with all the Q tags, with that Unabated data is going to be a mess. We're going to see it Unabated in a moment, though. Get it 20% off. Link down below for Unabated, monthly memberships, DFS projections, and, of course, great betting data if you want to go simulate betting odds and just make your shots at getting high EV bets, whether it's on pick'em sites or the primary sports books like DraftKings, FanDuel, BetMGM, Caesars, whatever you want on there. They have it Unabated, so do check it out. And Stokastic, see 15% off. The only promo code they have right now, guys, is this one. Promo code SPLASH gets you 15% off all their data, all their Sims tools as well, no matter what sports. If you want to play some Master stuff, get in there now. Use that promo code SPLASH on Stokastic. Make it count. Do the Discord too. Join the channel, etc. All right. So game by game here is going to look very similar, guys. Sacramento, 111.8 implied points. Detroit, 118.3 implied points. Sacramento here really, I mean, fair ownership going into Domantas Sabonis, 30%. I am still about half the field on him. I'm against Sabonis more lately in some matchups, but it's a Detroit one. Doesn't seem like one that's benefiting him in terms of there being excess rebounds and things like that. But Sabonis, reasonable play at 45 fantasy points. If he hits his ceiling, he probably gets to like 55, 56, 57. That'd be a reasonable ceiling for him, let alone, the farthest reaching ceiling outcomes. So he's very playable. I think the 30% is fair, but I'm also okay getting half that right now. We got DeMar DeRozan, 27% for the field. I'm at 19 here, so a little bit of an understand, but I do like having these guys pretty flat together. Even if you're with the Fields ownership, it's also still fairly flat together. So 17% Sabonis, 19% DeRozan, 18% Levine. We're capturing all the theoretical highest ceiling outcomes for these guys enough in my lineup set that I feel okay about it, but none of them look like great plays. They're all at best for Sabonis a 4.5x value. The positionality works a little bit better for DeRozan and Levine, but these guys not stellar projection plays either. Keegan Murray, 21% for the field. I really have him as a low projection at 4.1x value, 24.8 for me. Stokastic's at 25.6, getting him on only 9%, but you can see here again, because he's playing 34 minutes and he's 4.1x value, I'm still getting him in 9% of lineups. So normally a player like this, if we had an 8-game slate, 6-game slate even, probably wouldn't even get a share. If I did, it'd be very few shares. As it is right now, I'm getting like meaningful amounts of shares for these guys. Keon Ellis, 49%, Fields at 36%. So Keon Ellis, big pro stand for me here. He is a decent value as a 4.8x. You can see how green he is here relative to the conditional formatting that guys like Robert the Griffin III love. So he is a good value relative to the slate. So I get being there. The issue is like he's not a great value, and there are guys who are also kind of middling values as well. So Keon Ellis, kind of an easy play to get to, but you can pivot off him if you need to. And Trey Lyles, getting 21%. Trey Lyles in the slate, Fields at 16. It's just that kind of slate. I really have no feel for Trey Lyles at this point. And a spot where Sabonis and Valanciunas and Keegan Murray are all in, I don't know what Trey Lyles' ceiling really is, but he can play 20 minutes maybe if he gets lucky. Any Fultz if Ellis is out? Probably not. Let me look at Sacramento's rotation. I mean, I guess if you were going to be getting enough minutes from Stokastic to pop up, I would say I'd take a shot. He wasn't even in the rotation last game. They had Malik Monk coming in for Keon Ellis. Actually, no, they had Devin Carter coming in for Keon Ellis. Malik Monk was coming in for Zach LaVine. I think you just get more minutes for Carter and Monk. That'd be my guess. Devin Carter getting 12 minutes. Anyway, probably no Fultz still, no. For Detroit on their side, Cade Cunningham, 27% for me, 13% for the field. So really not a big stand in favor of Cade Cunningham as a 4.5x value for me. Jalen Duren getting 38 or 39% rather, Fields at 31. Obviously, he's a Q tag right now. If he's not in, we'll see Isaiah Stewart become the best value on the slate, even though he still won't be great value. But as it is right now, for Jalen Duren, he looks like a pretty good play. And if he's out, the centers will also be really good plays. And frankly, relative to the slate, I probably would just get a lot of Isaiah Stewart. I'd be comfortable locking him again, as I did last time out. Again, I think that was Saturday. It's all blurs together with me doing an extra day of streams here. But I think Stewart's a strong play again if you get Jalen Duren out, and Paul Reed would be your pivot. But as long as Stewart stays out of foul trouble, he's going to get all the minutes. Asar Thompson, 21% for the field. I'm at 20, so that's actually probably the Piston I'm close to the field on besides Duren. Dennis Schroeder has been starting, doing not very much. Tobias Harris, healthy enough to play, but not very good. I'm not getting much of these guys, only 3% Tobias Harris. Fields at 20. Dennis Schroeder, I'm getting 1%. Fields at 9. Malik Beasley, 31% for me in my top 150. They're getting the field at 22% here. So do you like Malik Beasley about 2 fantasy points higher than Stokastic? So definitely favoring him today, even though he's still not a great value at 5,800. He's kind of priced for a few games without Cade. So that's not helping him out too much. Tim Hardaway Jr., people are going to play him at 30%. He's averaged 0.64 fantasy points per minute, counting for the matchup and who's available today for Detroit. And I'm at 0.59. I don't think Tim Hardaway Jr. is really a play, but he will play 28 minutes. So in terms of value options, at least he's getting starter level run. Not really a great stand for him. Have you ever met an NBA player before? They are very tall. I have met NBA players before, and they are very tall. That's true. In fact, when I was a little kid, I went to behind the scenes tour at Madison Square Garden. And weirdly, I mean, I guess it was something like he wasn't saying it directly to us. The tour guide was talking to one of the teachers about this long-standing urban legend about Patrick Ewing, if you guys are familiar at all with 90s basketball. And hopefully, even if you're not, hopefully you know some of the legendary names of the past, like a Patrick Ewing, like his arch nemesis, Rick Smits, whatever. Hakeem Olajuwon couldn't get on the court for when Houston won over Duke the other day, which is fucking insane. You should know 90 centers anyway. Patrick Ewing, though, basically what one of the staffers at MSG was telling our teacher, and we weren't supposed to hear it, was like Patrick Ewing, he was like, oh yeah, like they would tape his dick up. Like they have to pull his dick up and then put tape around it to keep it in place so it won't pop out of his shorts. So that speaks to how large basketball players are alone, is that Patrick Ewing himself. And that's always been a rumor that's been out there. But to hear an employee say it while we were in a tour of the Garden when I was in like 5th grade, that's one of those things that sticks with you. So never sleep on Patrick Ewing's dick unless you need a cot, and then and perhaps if he gets an erection, it could fill in. Philadelphia, 100.5 implied points. Not a great total here for these depleted Sixers going into Miami. You have the Q tag for Justin Edwards here. That does matter a little bit in terms of giving you a shot to have more minutes for the Wings overall. Also, Keon Johnson ruled out for two. Okay, so Tuesday shit. We don't need Tuesdays. I was like, is that Keon Ellis? No, Keon Johnson. So for Philadelphia, not a great total here. Quentin Grimes, a really big stand on a team here going into Miami. Who knows how much partying they're doing with this total? Like 100 implied points for Philly is not very good here. And Miami is a team better than league average with that 113 defensive efficiency rating. Basically means they're giving up 113 points per 100 possessions. So I don't want the spot for Philly, to be clear, but we got to play somebody here. Philly looks like the best value to me because of the shortened rotation. Yet Kyle Lowry in does maybe take a few minutes away overall, but still Quentin Grimes, as I mentioned, playing 36 minutes or more the last 3 games. He's projected for 33.4 today. I'm really comfortable with him. Fields at 25%. I would say for Grimes, at least get the Fields 25%, but if you want to fade me, I'm getting 90% Grimes right now. It's the most obvious player to get away from me on if you want to today. Jared Butler, 40% for the field, 38% for me. Really don't like Jared Butler that much, but he's cheap enough and he's close enough to a 5x value that on this slate, he'll get into some lineups. Justin Edwards, if he plays, 22% for the field, I'm at 15%. He has not been very good unless Grimes is out. He can theoretically suck some usage away. He gets going, in particular from 3. Not the biggest Justin Edwards fan at his price tag. Really, the rest of the Sixers, like, I get why Grimes is so expensive. I'm willing to pay that. These guys at like 5, 6K, I'm just not really feeling it too much. But Edwards theoretically gets some opportunity opened up by not having Yabu out there. He can get a few more threes off because Yabu's not taking those. And a Dem bonus certainly not gonna. So you want to play Edwards, you can, just not a great projection. A Dembona, 40% for the field. I got 75. Again, one of your best values in the slate is a Dembona. Same thing for Lonnie Walker. Played 38 minutes last game with Justin Edwards getting hurt. He certainly benefits as well if Edwards is not available. Ricky Council, I'm under on. He did get benched last game for reasons unclear. Hood Shafino, 9% ownership for the field. I'm not getting there. Castleton, I'm not getting there, but I could see playing him just given the fact that a Dembona is going to get played so much. If Dembona gets in foul trouble or Castle just plays really well, earns a few minutes, he's your way to kind of, I wouldn't say break the slate, but your way to get a lot of leverage against chalky Dembona. So anytime you have these spots where it's like 2 guys sharing 48 minutes, always worth at least considering the alternative option. So in lineups where I don't get Bona, I'll probably give Castleton a little bit of a boost, but he still probably wouldn't come in lineups too often with that 13.3 projection for him. Miami on their side, Shaq's cock is relatively small. I met Shaq at a Kings game when he was minority owner. That man is huge. All right, well, I don't know which it is. I feel like there's only been positive rumors about Shaq's genitalia, but what do I know? Wasn't there an interview where like Larry David talked about it or somebody? I think that's it. I would not talk about Patrick Ewing's prodigious member in front of the puppet. That's true. Puppet Lindquist doesn't want to hear such evil things. We got Miami, 113.5 implied points. We're going to hit unabated in a moment, guys, so stay tuned. So Adebayo here, your chalky play at 9,200. Somebody in the chat just mentioned you want to lock Bam Adebayo because he's playing well lately. Part of the reason he played so well last time out for Miami was you didn't have hero ends. That's something to keep in mind there. Wiggins as well. Like if you take away that much usage, as we always talk about here, somebody's got to soak it up. Bam Adebayo soaked it up last time. But if you get Hero and Wiggins back in today, I would have a hard time getting to Bam. If you take Hero and Wiggins out, I think Bam and his 35% ownership looks totally fair. But as it is right now, only getting 11% Bam, Fields at 35. Tyler Hero, 31% for my top 150, Fields at 40. So he looks like a good play for the field. Not a great value, but I would prefer him to Bam for myself. Andrew Wiggins, to me, seems like the most appealing Heat option. He has been a player I've played a good amount of since he's been on the Heat, has gotten more usage, got more assist rate, rebounding's holding steady. So Andrew Wiggins, I think a strong play at 6,900. He'd be my preferred Heat player, but he's kind of owned in a lump with all these guys. Khalil Ware, 30% for me, Fields at 28. It's fine. Duncan Robinson, I'm getting a lot of here. 46% fields at 34. I guess just slate, you need value. Robinson's an okay value, but would really feel a lot better about him if you get Hero out, you get Wiggins out. I think things would look a lot better for him. At that point, Mitchell would come into play as well if you got Wiggins, Hero, and I would say Burks out especially. But Mitchell's probably going to play 30 minutes no matter what. So he's in play as a semi-value at 5,500. Really would have a hard time playing him a ton, though, if you have Hero and Wiggins in. One of the worst slates, man. And Haywood Highsmith, 29% for me. My top 150 fields at 22%. Really awful projection for Haywood Highsmith. It feels like a 300-point total will win you today's slate based off these projections, but you're getting Haywood Highsmith, you're getting Duncan Robinson. I'm getting them both above the field. It doesn't feel that good. It really doesn't feel that good. Let's see. If your Chalky Bono lasts more than 4 hours, see intact. Well, it will be going off. I guess our Chalky Bono will have to last another 3 hours at the least because that game doesn't start till 7:30. Let's see. Rasheed Wallace, 19 and 17 against Shaq. Wallace over Shaq. It's okay. I don't know we were defending Rasheed Wallace here. I have no issue with Rasheed Wallace. All right, let's look at the unabated video now. We'll hop to unabated. We're a little bit early to get their data, but let's watch this video and then we'll look at some graphs or whatever. We'll have a good time. And the crew doing great work, and they'll be going throughout the playoffs as well. So you are not too late against the World of Unabated and take advantage of what they've been doing for customers all year, racking up $60K in wins. You're betting all their bets 30 minutes before tip-off with a 5% or higher ROI. Of course, you got live betting data here on the screen. Their odds screens show you every possible market you can find. And of course, the news feed on there. You don't have to go on Twitter. You don't have to deal with best ball, football losers. You just go on Unabated and get your news on there. You know, that's a crossover bit. And of course, you get graphs, lots of sweet graphs. They're showing you distributions of your outcomes there, visualizations for what the data they're giving you at Unabated is. Game day live streams as well, premium behind the paywall. They're going to do some free ones, though, in the new year, or not the new year, but in the postseason. Check it out, unabated.com/NBA. And let's also quickly check out this graph here. So again, you can see the graph showing how much you'd be up. If you placed every bet with a 5% or higher ROI according to Unabated sim tools here, and every bet 30 minutes before tip-off, $100 units, you'd be up $60,000. If you place $10 units, you'd be up $6,000. And it is a good amount of work, to be totally honest. You have to be here every day, showing up before the games, getting your bets in. But Unabated makes it as simple as possible. You use premium data. And if you want to put in the legwork, you can get results like that in betting if you just follow the info. So check it out for yourself. 20% off. Link down below with promo code SPLASH. You get their end of the rest of the season package. I would get monthly probably at this point because I think it's a little bit cheaper. But follow your heart. Check out Unabated and click down below to go over there and get your 20% off with promo code SPLASH. Unabated show handle the financial crisis. I will say, you know, look, if you want to put your money in Unabated, you're probably going to do better than old Tariff Town. Here's all our Q tags. So in terms of player teams we should have available for betting markets right now, Bam Adebayo, Jalen Duren, Justin Edwards, Tobias Harris, Tyler Hero, Keegan Murray. It looks like we're not going to have Philly available. We're not going to have Miami. We're not going to have Sacramento. We're not going to have Detroit. How do I show you guys bets? All right, let's assume all the Q tags play. Let's do it that way. All right. So here's all the bets, assuming all the Q tags play. Of course, you can see the flip side of things as well if you want to try to get EV on that. But because every team has a Q tag on it, we can't we can't show every market. So let's pull this in here. They're not even updated yet. All right, let's give it a second. I'll take a sip of water, and then the data will be in. Really unbelievable. The slate gives us nothing. That's true. The slate really wants to punish us, make us feel bad today. I'll give a quick refresh here. Let's see if the unabated projections have populated yet, because they usually start at 4:30. Spags and crypto. Spags wishes he had kept his crypto holdings. Though I did get out at a top for Bitcoin, so I'm okay with it, but could always use more. All right, let's sim these out here. And again, we're assuming every player today who's available plays. Let's put Keegan Murray in as well. So all our Q tag guys, if they play, what happens? Let's find out. We're on one more sim here. Okay, that's it. Simming everything. All right. A lot of EV on these. So keep in mind, this is assuming that all the Q tag guys play. So you're going to see some really high numbers here. So if all the Q tag guys play, Kyle Anderson looks undervalued for the under right now. 72.7% EV for under 9.5 points on PrizePicks and Underdog, along with 71.4% EV on DraftKings Sportsbook for under 9.5 points there as well. Now, the reason this EV is so high is because obviously there's some assumption that somebody's going to be missing from the Heat. So Kyle Anderson, you're getting value on the under right now. But if you do have Wiggins out, if you do have Wiggins and Burks and Hero out, Kyle Anderson's just going to get more minutes throughout that process. So a little bit of risk here if you want to take it, but it's obviously a lot of EV if this works out and all the Heat guys play. Khalil Ware, if all the Heat guys play as well, under 13.5 points would look really good. If Bam Adebayo is out, though, Khalil Ware is going to instantly sail upwards and take a lot of the stats that Bam Adebayo leaves behind. So a risky bet right here. 52.4% EV for Khalil Ware, assuming all the Heat guys go on his under 13.5 points. Playable on PrizePicks as well at under 13. Playable on DraftKings Sportsbook, but it looks the best on FanDuel with 52.4% EV for under 13.5 points for Khalil Ware. Alec Burks. So again, same thing here. Assuming all the Q tags are playing, you get 50.1% EV on Alec Burks under 10.5 points on FanDuel. Of course, if you get Hero out, you get Wiggins out, Burks' minutes go up. This bet becomes pretty risky. So keep it in mind. If you want to absorb the risk, you take these bets. But you're kind of seeing how the conditional projections work. I don't show them very often on here because it's much easier to not talk around it and not, have to say, in case these guys don't play, like blah, blah, blah. But basically here, I would say looking at these lines, somebody from the Heat has to be out because you wouldn't find as much EV for the guys being in, for the under rather on these guys with the other Heat players being in, unless somebody were meant to be out based on how the markets are reading it. Duncan Robinson under 11.5 points. Looking good on FanDuel. Minus 104 odds get you 35.4% EV. Still playable on DraftKings as well, 34.8% EV. PrizePicks looks good as well. So a lot of EV here for Duncan Robinson on his under in the hopes that all of the Heat players play. Tyler Hero. So, odd to see this much EV for Tyler Hero because he's clearly one of the key players affecting everything. If he's out, then all these guys' lines are wrong. But Tyler Hero under 26.5 points, 31.9% EV. For him, if Bam Adebayo's out, his run out will get a little bit better. If Wiggins is out, his run out will get a little bit better as well. So Hero, there is risk on his under right now. 24.8% EV on the Pick'em sites, 31.9% on DraftKings is your best EV. And FanDuel, 22.9% EV there. So grand slam for Tyler Hero here. Assuming all the Heat players play, take his under on 26.5 points. Davion Mitchell under 10.5 points. So if you got Hero, Burks, Wiggins out, Mitchell's going to look a lot better for his points over. As it is, though, under 10.5 points, 19.6% EV on FanDuel, assuming that all the Heat players play. Good EVs on PrizePicks and Underdog as well for under 10.5 points for Davion Mitchell. Same thing on DraftKings. You can play it anywhere today. Assuming that the Heat players all go, Davion Mitchell's under 10.5 points looking pretty good. And Asar Thompson under 13.5 points, 19.4% EV for Asar Thompson on DraftKings Sportsbook would be your best bet, assuming that you get Tobias Harris and Jalen Duren in. If those guys are out, this under gets a little bit riskier, especially Tobias Harris. If he's out, this under is probably not a great bet. But right now, Asar Thompson, 19.4% EV for under 13.5 points on DraftKings. Playable as well on PrizePicks and FanDuel. Man, so many things to explain because, really don't want to give out info and have people see that EV and go like, oh, great bet, I got to run to take it. And it's like, well, no, because it's assuming that all these guys are playing. A little bit of a mess. Frankly, a lot of bit of a mess, but we'll get through it. I would frankly only play Davion Mitchell if you get at least one of Hero and Wiggins out, ideally both. Davion Mitchell will get more usage for sure. If you get both guys out, if you get one out, it'll come up a little bit. But he really doesn't start to shoot a bunch unless there's just nobody else left to shoot. So I'd caution about Davion Mitchell a little bit. But he will play 30 minutes no matter what. So you can take your shots, and especially on this slate. Kyle Anderson. So again, assuming that all the Heat guys are in, you got huge EV for Kyle Anderson under 5 rebounds today. On PrizePicks, you're getting 59.3% EV. On DraftKings, it'd also be under 5.5 rebounds on there, getting you 44.5% EV. Pretty juiced line there at minus 154, but Kyle Anderson's under is looking good if all the Heat players are in. Alec Burks, his unders also for rebounds looking good if all the Heat players are in. Looking best in your pickup sites, about 38% EV on there, 37% on DraftKings, 32% on FanDuel. For Alec Burks under 3.5 rebounds, again, assuming that all the Heat questionable players actually do play. Davion Mitchell under 3.5 rebounds, looking good on DraftKings, assuming the other Heat players play. Minus 135 odds on DraftKings, get you 19.5% EV. And Davion Mitchell would also be playable on FanDuel for under 3.5 rebounds on there. Asar Thompson under 6.5 rebounds, good to go on PrizePicks, 18.5% EV, assuming that you do get Jalen Duren and Tobias Harris in. Same thing for his under 6.5 rebounds on DraftKings and FanDuel. Good EVs on there for Asar Thompson under 6.5 rebounds, only if Jalen Duren and Tobias Harris play. Duncan Robinson under 2.5 rebounds, looking good on DraftKings, assuming the Heat players all play. Minus 105 odds gets you 18.1% EV for Duncan Robinson under 2.5 rebounds. Jonas Valanciunas under 4.5 rebounds, best on PrizePicks and Underdog. Your pick'em sites, not so good anywhere else. For Jonas Valanciunas today, 14.2% EV on your pick'em sites. And Adem Bona under 8.5 rebounds, plus EV, 12.7% EV for him here. Probably doesn't matter too much with Justin Edwards' questionable status for this one. So I think you take Adem Bona and feel okay about under 8.5 rebounds as it is, even with there being some Q tags hanging over Philly. But playable on DraftKings, looks the best there. Playable as well on PrizePicks and FanDuel. But take the 12.7% EV on DraftKings under 8.5 rebounds. I like Bona today too. That's tough. Is Bona to the play at center? He is going to be one of the chalkiest plays at center. I'm getting him a lot, so I have no issue with you playing him. But to be pretty decently owned, and Castleton could maybe take some minutes from if things were to go weird. So I think he's probably one of the better chalk plays in the slate. But when you have a guy that's very obviously going to be played by a lot of the field and there's sort of a direct pivot to him, I'd consider Castleton too as like a pivot point. But projection doesn't look good enough for him. Bonus projection does look pretty good. Assist lines here. So all the Heat, same thing in here. If all the Heat are playable, Kyle Anderson, or if all the Heat are in rather, Kyle Anderson under 3.5 assists would look good then. 49.4% EV on your pickup sites, 43% on DraftKings. So only if all the Heat players are in, I would run to take these Kyle Anderson unders on 3.5 assists. Davion Mitchell under 6.5 assists. Again, looking really good if all the Heat players are out or in rather. A 27.6% EV for you on DraftKings at minus 115 odds. Grand Slam if you get the Heat players all in for Davion Mitchell under 6.5 assists. Good on the pickup sites with a 26% EV. Good on your regular sportsbook as well. A little bit higher of that on DraftKings and a little bit less on FanDuel. Bam Adebayo under 4.5 assists, 14.5% EV. Looking good on the pick'em sites. Again, assuming that everybody's in for Miami. For DraftKings, under 4.5 assists, looking good for Bam Adebayo as well. If you get Hero and Wiggins out, the line's going to look not quite as good, but the under right now for Bam Adebayo, if everybody from Miami were to play, would look pretty good, under 4.5 assists. Quentin Grimes under 4.5 assists, good on your pickup sites. And again, I don't think this matters too much for him, whether Justin Edwards is in or not. 14.2% EV for Quentin Grimes in the pick'ems, and DraftKings and FanDuel, you have 9.4% EV on FanDuel, 11.3% on DraftKings for Quentin Grimes under 4.5 assists. Cade Cunningham, we don't want this line, so let's just skip it. Here we go. Can I get away with one top center, you think, to move off the chalk? Not sure what you mean, buddy. The centers are going to, like, honestly, every player in the slate is pretty chalky. So really aren't any players you're going to get to that are like unowned, but we'll see what Stokastic Sims have in a moment with their lineups, and maybe that'll help you out a little bit more. PRAs, under 18 PRAs for Kyle Anderson, looking very good on PrizePicks of all the Heat players play today that are questionable right now. 76.2% EV for Kyle Anderson there. Alec Burks under 15.5 PRAs, 53.8% EV for you on Underdog. Go play an Underdog with promo code SPLASH. Of course, use that sweet promo code for a $1,000 deposit bonus, but only if all the Heat players are in. So Alec Burks under 15.5 PRAs, play that one Underdog if all the Heat players who are questionable right now play. Hero, Adebayo, whatever, whoever fucking else we have. Khalil Ware, 37.1% EV. Under 26 PRA is looking good for him. On PrizePicks, you get 37.1% EV. Again, assuming that Bam Adebayo in particular goes, but assuming that all the Heat players who are questionable go. Khalil Ware's under 26 PRAs look good. And if Bam is in, or Bam is out rather, I'd probably want the over. So one of those things to be wary of placing right now, I guess. Duncan Robinson, under 17.5 PRAs, gets you 36.8% EV on PrizePicks and Underdog. Playable as well on DraftKings with 36% EV for Duncan Robinson, under 17.5 PRAs. Again, assuming all the Heat players play. Davion Mitchell, same thing, under 20.5 PRAs, 32% EV, let's say, on DraftKings. Pretty close on FanDuel, pretty close on PrizePicks as well. For Davion Mitchell, under 20.5 PRAs, assuming all the Heat players play. Haywood Highsmith, under 14.5 PRAs, looking good if all the Heat players play. 26.3% EV on your pickup sites, not good on your sports books. And Tyler Hero, under 38.5 PRAs, again, assuming that Adebayo in particular plays, Wiggins as well. Then it's under for PRAs for Hero, looks pretty good, under 38.5 PRAs, 23.8% EV on your pickup sites, and not too far behind on DraftKings and FanDuel. Really difficult one to get through the betting numbers on, guys. I hope it still adds some amount of value. The main thing here to me seems to be, I feel like one of the Heat players has to be out. Just looking at those lines, whenever you see that many EVs, somebody's got to be out for the Heat today, but we'll see. And hopefully before 7 is when we'll see. Let's go to Stokastic next. And of course, check out Unabated. Again, a great partner for me as well. 20% off. They'd be a great partner for you if you're trying to get some good NBA bets every day. Place all the bets 30 minutes before tip-off with a 5% or higher ROI. You'd be up $60,000 placing $100 bets every day. Of course, not everybody's going to do that, so follow your heart here. But use a tool, use data that is being used by professional bettors, spending a lot more money on this than you or I are on a given night. And let's hop in here. Let's generate our 5,000 lineups and have them compete 10,000 times on Stokastic. And of course, the data you're going to see here, I have no impact on at all. It's just Stokastic's projections updated at 2:02 p.m. today. So nothing's moved around since then. So you should be mostly good to go at this point. And nobody's getting ruled out yet. Jake LaRavia out. Okay, we knew that already. Bunch of Bulls guys out for tomorrow. Herter, Lonzo, Kobe White. Vucevic and Giddey questionable. Man, there's going to be a lot of it. Tomorrow's going to be, I think, the real tank slate would be my guess. A lot of guys already out tomorrow. Donovan Mitchell already out tomorrow. That'll be a mess. All right. 35% to first. Let's run the sim here. Let's see what we get. And guys, if you appreciate this content, please do show some love. Subscribe down below. Hit the like button. Leave a comment. It all goes a long way for me here. Just one guy running multiple channels here, an NFL channel, an NBA channel, MLB channel soon as well. Here is going to be the same thing. Well, on the same channel, but you guys know the deal. Also preparing MLB every day. When I have Stokastic streams, I'll be on Live Before Lock with my pal Eric Lindquist in about 20 minutes doing the MLB slate. So come hang out. Come do that stuff. But make sure you show some love if you can. Hit the like button. Subscribe. It all goes a long way. And check out Underdog, link down below, $1,000 deposit bonus. Unabated, you just heard about, 20% off, link down below. Stokastic, 15% off, link below. And join the Discord. If you want to know when I'm doing well in the tournament, you'll know on the basketball channel there. Frankly, I've been so close to winning the 4-point play this year. Like, it's been legit. 8 times I've been, I think it's 10 times I've been top 100. 8 times I've been top 50. Like 5 times I've been top 25. And then another 3 times I've been top 10. I would like to win it before the season ends. I think that'd be nice. Would like to win the bigger tournament before the season ends. That'd be even better. But the 4-point play at this point, I feel like I can do it. I'm fucking close every goddamn day. So maybe today's the day. Who knows? Only 2 games. Maybe today's the day. Be Quentin Grimes carrying me, I'll tell you what. Your top ROI lineups right now, according to Stokastic data. Again, no impact, no input from me here. We got Tyler Hero, Keon Ellis at number 1, Lonnie Walker, Trey Lyles. So not unplayable here. Trey Lyles going to come up in a few of these lineups. Domantas Sabonis, Jared Butler, Andrew Wiggins, Adem Bona. So you're definitely getting Sixers here. You're not getting precious Quentin Grimes, but if you're not going to play Grimes, playing Walker, Butler, Bona, definitely one way that Grimes would fail would be all those guys having outlier days. Jared Butler, Duncan Robinson, Lonnie Walker, Asar Thompson, Jalen Duren, Tyler Hero, Andrew Wiggins, and Adem Bona at number 2. So once again, you are getting these big 3 of Sixers with Butler, Walker, and Bona. You're also getting a couple Heat guys with Wiggins and Hero, and Robinson as well. I'm okay with the build. Frankly, any build is going to look okay on this slate. Cade Cunningham, Keon Ellis at number 3, Duncan Robinson, Trey Lyles again, Khalil Ware, Tyler Hero, Andrew Wiggins again, Jared Butler. This lineup would look fantastic if you got Bam Adebayo out. With Bam Adebayo in, I have a little more question about it, but anything's playable because nobody really projects that well in the slate. At number 4, you have Tyler Hero, Keon Ellis, DeMar DeRozan, Keegan Murray, Khalil Ware, Jared Butler, Lonnie Walker, and Adem Bona. So again, you're getting Butler, Walker, and Bona from the Sixers. This really makes me think that Quentin Grimes is kind of the leverage against these guys. If Grimes is only going to be like 20% owned, I'll be playing a lot of Grimes today, but for Stokastic, you're getting a lot of Butler, a lot of Walker, and a lot of Bona. A lot of Bona. It's a funny sentence. Tyler Hero at number 5. Hero, Walker, Zach LaVine, Lonnie Walker, that is. Zach LaVine, Andrew Wiggins, Khalil Ware, Jared Butler again, Duncan Robinson, Adem Bona again. So you are getting Butler, Bona, and Walker in all these top 5 lineups. Crazy. No, Nolan, you're too good at DFS compared to, but got 8 top 3s in the $5.25K no first. I mean, look, that's unfortunately the way it goes. Like, again, Tom at Stokastic years ago told me, you finish top 100 in one of the biggest tournaments out there, you're probably like, it's basically the same thing as being number 1 because the way that the variance works on it. Obviously, at this point, with the tournaments being a little bit smaller, that's not quite 1-to-1. But if you're finishing top 25, top 20 in tournaments enough times, it really is just you probably should have won that, but you ran bad, or at some point you should win it. That would be the hope at the very least. Rather sit on Duncan Robinson chalk than play it. But if the Heat guys are out, it'll look a lot better. Your top ROI players right now, Jared Butler, 4% ROI for him. So he is your only positive ROI player according to Stochastic. They've been loving Jared Butler lately, and I feel like he's not paid off. Maybe today's the day. Keon Ellis, negative 2.4%. He's your number 2 guy. Khalil Ware, negative 3% ROI. He's at number 3. Lonnie Walker, rounded up negative 5%. Adem Bona, and even worse, rounded up negative 5% right behind him. Tyler Hero, negative 7% ROI. Kaywood Highsmith, negative 10%. So don't worry about the negatives, even though you should note that Jared Butler is your only player with a positive number for the ROI across a 150 set from Stokastic. But the directional accuracy here of these guys being the highest ROI guys is what matters. Butler, Keon Ellis, Khalil Ware, Lonnie Walker, Adem Bona, Tyler Hero, and Haywood Highsmith, who I did not expect to see with that group. Exposure. So this is funny. So Stokastic doesn't want Quentin Grimes, but they want Jared Butler at 90%. So I'm gonna have Quentin Grimes at like 75 to 90%. Stokastic is going to have in their top 150 Jared Butler at 90%. So really big stand for Jared Butler here. As I've mentioned enough times, he just doesn't do as much as a Sixer as he does in pretty much every other spot he's been. Whether it was in Utah as a young guy, whether it was in Washington earlier in the year. Maybe today's the day for him, but I'm not as on board. Lonnie Walker, 69% here. A nice number normally, 46% for the field for Lonnie Walker's ownership. So pretty big stand in favor of Lonnie Walker. Adem Bona, 63% fields at 41. So Stochastic liking him as well. Your 3 Sixers, they're appearing in the top ROI lineups. And they're certainly appearing across the top 150 lineups as well. Keon Ellis, 62% fields at 37. As we talked about, he's one of very few legit looking values on the slate at 4,300. Tyler Hero, 59% fields at 40. So big stand in favor of him. Yeah, I have no issue with Hero. Again, he'd look a lot better if you get Bam Adebayo out, let alone Bam Adebayo and Wiggins out. Khalil Ware, 53% fields at 29. So big stand in favor of him, almost 2x the field on that. And Duncan Robinson, 43% when fields at 34%. So Stochastic liking Duncan Robinson chalk, even if our guy Robert Griffin the Turd is not. All right, Steven's with me. Can we get away from Grimes? Always good when we're going against the Stokastic sim. Like where do they have Grimes at? Grimes are getting 19% in their top 150 fields at 24. So at least you're getting some Grimes, but not a lot. Highest leverage guys, Jared Butler, 48% leverage. Keon Ellis, 25. Khalil Ware, 23. Lonnie Walker, 22. Adem Bona, 21% more than the field. Tyler Hero, 19% more. And Duncan Robinson, 8% more than the field. Your negative leverage guys, Davion Mitchell, negative 16%. I don't think he's a great play unless you get a few Heat players out. In particular, Wiggins, Hero, and Burks would help too. Justin Edwards, negative 14% leverage. I don't think he's a good play, so I'm okay with that. But he does feel like leverage against Stokastic, giving you a shitload of Butler and Walker and Bona. I'd rather have Grimes, but it does feel like if Stokastic's going to really feed you those 3 Sixers, maybe try to get a little more Edwards. DeMar DeRozan, negative 13% leverage, only 14% compared to the field's 27. Bam Adebayo, negative 13% leverage, only 24% compared to the field's 37. Zach LaVine, negative 12% leverage, only 10% of Stokastic's top 150 lineups have Zach LaVine. Kyle Lowry, negative 10% leverage, only 2% feels like too much as well. But Kyle Lowry and 2% of Stokastic's top 150. Apparently the field's going to play him 12%, which feels aggressive. Colin Castleton, negative 9% leverage. They don't want you to play Castleton at all. I do think at this point, Castleton's an interesting play just because Bona is going to be so highly owned. That's really the only thing that makes him interesting is your hope that maybe Bona gets in foul trouble or something, and Castleton could have an outlier day and steal a few minutes. Doesn't look great. Would I play Grimes and Butler at shooting guard? I can only play 3 player. What? Bet 365. What the fuck are we doing? It's like, I would play Grimes, though. Grimes, for me, projects really well. That said, he doesn't project well for Stokastic, so you got to kind of make your own choice here. But I'm playing a lot of Grimes today. Here's the thing about going against Sims. No one does more than anecdotal results. I wish I had the time/money to really compare various Sim results. Enough people use them and have success with it. I mean, you really can just look at the top of tournaments. It's all guys using Stokastic Sims a lot of days. If not, Saber Sim days, a lot of times up top. I would tend to say the Sim I trust more than my own brain for the most part, but I've been playing really projection focused off my data lately, and it's been working well. So personal choice, as is the case with everything. All right, last call here. Of course, we're going to do my splash plays for the day. Guys, please show some love if you can. Subscribe down below with the like button, leave a comment. Been a tedious weekend for me dealing with best ball, NFL, Twitter idiots, but we're okay with it. We're still focused here, as we always are. NBA and MLB doing the work and showing up as best we can every day. And even if it's a 2-game slate, maybe there's an edge. Hopefully it's Quentin Grimes. We're going to try to find out today. Check out Underdog, $1,000 in bonus cash right now. Of course, if you join with promo code SPLASH, link in the description. Even if you haven't played on there before, just get in there, support the show if you can. It does go a long way here for me trying to hit my 2025 goals. Unabated, 20% off. Link down below as well for them. Get all their data, all their simulation tools that are going to add a ton of value, whether you're playing pick'ems or regular sports books. And Stokastic, 15% off. The best deal that they will have is going to be the deal I give you here. 15% off any monthly, weekly package, data, or sim stuff. And it's in perpetuity. Just keeps getting 15% off every month. So it's a really good deal for you. And a lot of their other deals, they kind of go away over the period of like a week, couple months, whatever the case may be. This one is 15% off for as long as you keep the memberships. It's a really good deal. And check out the Discord as well. Join down below, etc. All right, splash plays for the day. I mean, it has to be Quentin Grimes. I think that's the one that'll be my biggest stand here. He's on the thumbnail. He's won money for us before. Really, it was terrible versus Minnesota last time out. Miami is not the kind of spot I love either. Wish we were playing a Washington or somebody similarly shitty, a Hawks. I'd feel great about Grimes there. But Grimes has been good in competitive spots before. He's playing about 36 minutes a game the last 3. Let's hope it continues for one more day here at 8,800. Lonnie Walker, Dembona, also coming up a lot for me here. I prefer Grimes to Butler as opposed to Stokastic that prefers Butler to Grimes by a wide margin. But I like Bono, like Walker. I think they are splash plays. Wiggins, if he plays, would be a splash play for me. Keon Ellis, if he plays, would be a splash play for me. And if you get players out, see, like if you get a bunch of Heat players out, whoever is left for the Heat would be a splash play. Like if you get Hero and Wiggins out, and Burks ideally too. Davion Mitchell comes up. Duncan Robinson comes up. If you get Bam Adebayo out, Khalil Ware comes up. Looks a lot better. Just keep in mind here, because like we don't know the Q tags, and we're probably not going to know them for another couple hours. Whatever Q tags there are, especially on this short slate, just take whatever team is leaving a lot of Q tags that become guys that are inactive is what I'd recommend for today. But shout out to the chat. Appreciate you guys being here. Frankly, the NBA channel. You guys are always lovely to see, and I appreciate all your vibes as always. I'm going to be on Stokastic doing MLB in 8 minutes, so I'm going to rerun my sim, update my data, see what we get on there, but go check it out. Of course, especially in this time of the year for NBA, make sure you gamble responsibly. It's always money time here. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow the show at Splash Play Bets, of course, because we're going to be doing some NBA and MLB coming up throughout the NBA playoffs and MLB regular season here in the coming weeks. And I'll see you guys again soon. Thanks for hanging out. Enjoy your days, guys. And of course, good luck. And go check me out on Stokastic in 7 minutes. Okay, bye-bye.